I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which this episode is being recorded and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. Welcome to Can I Get a Refill, the podcast that offers a nurturing and inspirational space for honest and open discussions around career aspirations, wealth creation, motherhood, healthy relationships with others and the self, as well as an emphasis on physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. Join us for light-hearted, authentic chats with like-minded women, as well as more in-depth discussions with industry professionals to support your ambitions and heal old wounds, as we empower you to regularly fill up your own cup. I'm your host, Steph Bruno-Newton, singer, writer, recovering people pleaser, first-time podcast host, and soon-to-be first-time mum. Thank you for pressing play today, and now let's get into the episode. Welcome back to the Can I Get a Refill podcast. We're here again with my beautiful friend Harmony Terra. If you don't know who she is, skip back to the last episode where I introduced her, where we're talking about ways to fill up your cup. Harmony, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, Steph. Nice to be here.
Today we're going to talk about red and green flags in friendships. So I recently did a similar episode for romantic relationships and it ended up being such a long chat I had to split it into two, so I'll try and talk a little bit less in this one. But yeah, like some of the points might double up from romantic relationships, but I think the friendship one's probably a little bit lighter, but it's really important to have these boundaries and be aware of what works for you and what doesn't. So We'll start with red so that we end on something positive and we'll end with green. Okay, so I've got 8 points here for red flags. So if any of these resonate with you or if you think there's any that I might have forgotten, just reach out to us on socials and let us know. Okay, number 1, when they have expectations of you. I was sort of touched on this in the previous episode that they're the friendships that don't work for me, or any relationships, family, work, when it's like certain expectations that don't align with your values. So
when they do have expectations and they're not what you've allowed, then it's fucked.
It doesn't work. So it's when someone's putting an expectation on you, it makes you feel nervous. So I have certain people in my life, I sort of discussed a topic in the last one where, you know, I couldn't go to a certain thing and someone lost it. I'm like I don't want a friendship where I feel nervous. The whole point of friendships is they're your solace. They're the people you go to when work sucks, when family sucks. Like your friends are the ones that are literally meant to be your comrades that make you feel light.
And it's recreational.
It's recreational. So the second you I had this group of friends years ago when I turned 30 and I would drive in to meet them and it got to the point where I was nervous and I was like, oh, this is fucked. That's so not, because normally when I drive in to meet friends, I'd be so hyped up and so excited. But yeah, the expectations of me just didn't match with or didn't align with my values or my goals. So it just made me feel uncomfortable. So I had to take a step back and that group sort of went their own ways, which is fine. You know what else though? It's also good to understand that you don't have to be with the same friends that you've been with forever, because like friends in your 20s might not suit friends in your 30s or your 40s, or friends
your party friends.
Yeah, friends when you're single might not suit friends when you're in a relationship. So here's my thing that I always say to people. Don't have the same set of expectations for all friends because they're all different things. And I used to be like that, and I have some people in my life that are like, oh, I called my friend, she didn't call me back, and they'll get really offended. And I'm like, yeah, but they don't like the phone. Maybe they would rather text. So I have all these different friends that I go to for different things. I have one friend that if I want the mad partying, cocktails, let shit out of my system friend who's just wild and fun, but she might be a bit flaky at like getting back to things, but her strength is high vibe, like that she makes me feel light and young and fun. Then I have another friend who is so present. When we have one-on-one dinners, it's the best because they'll go on for hours. We have so much to talk about and she's so present. Phones are away. That girl cannot reply to a text to save a life. So it's like she's so shit at it. Years ago, I'd get offended. Now I'm like, that's not her strength. So I might, chase her for a bit and then I'll be like, okay, if you're just busy, it's fine. Don't reply. I did this recently, but I said, now I'm a bit concerned. Are you going through something? And she's like, I'm going through something. So I don't need her to be great at text. That's not her strength. Her strength is being a very wise, very present friend. Then I have another 2 girlfriends who are just my rocks. Like they know in their gut when something's wrong and they reach out, just checking in, everything's okay. Like they're psychically connected to me. They will just, show up when you need them, which I'll get to in other points. But no, now I'm crossing over to green flags. But here's the thing. You adjust your expectations of friends and push back on anyone who has expectations of you. So don't expect your friends to have the same values as you. Yeah. You're always going to feel disappointed. Yeah. So when someone teaches you who they are, remember it and just sort of, just reassess your expectations of them so you don't feel disappointed. Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily like a red flag to have expectations on your friends, but if they're the wrong ones, then
when I say different strengths from people, but if no one's putting in anything, what do you have to ask, what am I getting from this friendship?
Exactly.
So that's something different, but
for sure.
Definitely someone having expectations and conditions of you makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it makes me feel like I owe something and then I'm nervous. All the friends around me now make me feel so loved and supported, and there's just no nervousness to reach out to them or, you know what I mean? Like
freedom is a huge thing for me. Yeah,
huge. Number 2, this is in line with it, conditional friendships. And that group I was talking about years ago, when I was friends with them, even earlier than when I was turning 30, I was on my P's and it was 0 tolerance. You couldn't have one drink if you were out, and they all lived far from me. So I always drove because who the hell can afford taxis and Ubers? So I remember one of the last times, like they were all drinking and I wasn't, so I left at 10. And I mean, we'd gotten together since the early afternoon. And I remember one looking me in the eye, pointing in my face going, you better drink with us next time. Like it felt really like, those American college frat party kind of things. Yeah. Like if you're one of us, you'll drink. And I'll have fun and I'll drink, but I've also always been into fitness, and there's times where I'll just go a solid block where I don't want to party and I don't want to drink. And I went through that in my 20s, and I just wanted to wake up the next morning without a hangover and go for a run, so but that made me feel so nervous. My friends now would never say that to me. Oh, no. And as a result, I want to spend more time with them. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so funny how if there's no conditions on you, you actually want to spend more time with them instead of someone making you feel like you owe them a quota of hours or a quota of get-togethers.
Doing a specific activity and
Here's the thing, like just be grateful with what time people can spare with you. When people put those things on here like, oh, you spent that time with that person, I spent this much time with that other person and you should put, I hate the word should, that can fuck right off, but you don't know my life. You don't know what I've got going on. You don't know my schedule. When someone puts that on you, I don't think that's love. I think if friends or family or anyone's putting those conditions and then after that guilt trips if you're not doing a certain amount of thing, that's not love. That feels more like a dictatorship or a manipulative guilt kind of thing.
Hate being told what to do.
Always. I've always hated that.
Yeah, same. But even if they're telling you that this is what we need to be doing when we spend time together, is it me you want to spend time with, or is it
you just filling a hole? Yeah. Yes. I find people do that in romantic relationships too. Like, did you really fall in love with that person, or did you just have a goal of I went on a blind date with someone once on fucking Valentine's Day, way rookie era, never do that. And he was projecting this entire life onto me. We did like a lunchtime thing and then I was hanging out with my girlfriend in the night, and I remember just looking at my watch like, I want to go to her rooftop pool and have a swim. I want out of here. He was projecting this whole life of like, you'll fit in and we'll do this. And
on the first date?
And then I remember when we crossed the road, he grabbed my hand to hold my hand, which I love when Alan does that. But on the first date, I remember the icks, like, I just met you, I don't want to hold your hand. Like, it really creeped me out. But he was just wanting someone so bad, a wife and a life so bad, that he was like almost like job interviewing people to slot into that position.
Gross.
And I know people who are like that, who like, are they like marrying you and having kids with you because they're so, like, I've waited so long to have kids, but it's more to the point that A, I don't want an empty dinner table at Christmas in 20 years. Like, I want some people around. But B, it's like I'm so in love with Alan that I want to extend the family. Like, I want a little mini Alan now because it's like, you know, we're in this good place. But I never like would put pressure on time. And I think a lot of people, Yeah, are they marrying you and having kids with you because they love you, or because that was their goal and they're slotting you in?
Yeah, that's how they do. That happens in friendships so often.
It does, doesn't it?
They want you to fill that hole. The conditions are we need to do these things while we're hanging out, or
they're not getting to know you and your wants and your wishes.
It shouldn't be conditional. If
I don't think
that's
any
the friend
relationship
you've
should.
chosen.
Yeah. I think it should be just getting to know each other and what works for the individuals. So yeah, that's true. That sort of also goes in line with number 3, the one-sided friendship. So as I said, like, you got to understand that there's certain friends that are better at certain things, and you take certain things from certain friends. And I've always been the organizer, but I took a real step back. I stopped being in the group chat because I'm overwhelmed, but I also stopped organising anything because for 25 years in this particular group of girls, and they're my lifeline, I love these girls, I organised everything. Like, even their functions and birthdays and baby showers and stuff. And like, yeah, I'm good at it and I take charge. So I've probably set that standard as well that, I like to do it. But also I'm exhausted. I can't. So like, there's so many groups that, like, if I don't book it, we don't get together. And I think some realize it and like have pointed out, and some I don't think have even realized, hey, we literally haven't gotten together because I've taken a step back. So that feels one-sided, and that's not fair. You can't leave all that to me. So if you want to spend time with me, you've got to reach out too. So I'm not going to have expectations, but I'm not going to take the reins 24/7 and book everything.
You shouldn't have to.
Because then you know what you feel like? A secretary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the same. I'll say the same with Alan. Like, okay, it's been a while since you booked a date. Do it. I'm not, like, I'm really like the one who puts it in the diary and like makes the booking. And, you always hear that line of, oh, you're so good at it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know that friends do the same, and they're wonderful people. It's more, and I would point it out. So don't be like a sulky bitch and go, I'm not doing it. Like, point it out and go, hey guys, feeling a bit drained here, not feeling the love. If I get together, someone else organise the next one. And I'll point it out, and then someone will do one, and then that's it, it'll stop. And it's like, I can't, I had to take a step back, especially being pregnant and having health issues. It's my year of,
you've
not
got
being
to
in charge.
Focus on you.
Yeah,
I have to admit that I am the other side.
Yeah, you're the other friend. I know. Yeah, that's why we get on so good. That's the yin and yang. When you have two organisers, you can butt heads.
Yeah, no, I'm down. Everyone else organise whatever.
Yeah.
You tell me what you want when you want it, and I'll say yes or no.
But are there ways where you're still contributing? Like, will you instigate a text or a call to check on a friend?
Of course, yeah.
Then that's okay. So it's, my whole thing is don't take, and don't give. There's got to be give and take. So
but there's people who know, like, when I'm the one, that other side, the majority of the time I'm not as present in that friendship. Because like in my career, I have a lot of social interactions all day, and I know how to do that. It does kind of miscommunicate a little bit the relationship. So sometimes people are like, oh, we're best friends and whatever, and they're, organising things and asking me for things, and I'm like,
I'm not into it.
Yeah, like if I want to come, I'll come. It's not saying I don't want to be your friend, but there are things that I do want to do, and I'm actively participating in those.
Okay, well, that's my point. If someone wants to be in your life,
exactly,
they'll make an effort to be in your life. So
and I will.
So if I'm feeling like everything's so one-sided and I literally wouldn't have some friendships if I didn't make the effort, I'm going to be drained. My cup's going to be emptied. I'm not going to feel full. So I have to pull back. So I will point it out and go, hey, it's starting to feel a bit unfair. You know what I mean? And so point it out. As I said, don't just do the silent treatment and wait for them to notice it. Some people aren't aware, but I have to take step backs because it's just not fair.
Yeah, well,
you feel underappreciated.
You don't even know sometimes where you stand with people.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just good to check. You can't be everybody's friend, and you can't, everyone whose friend you want to be isn't going to be their friend. And not everyone who wants to be your friend you want to be.
Absolutely.
It's just, I guess, what's the word? Organising your own life.
Yeah.
Being mature about it and expressing that in not such a crazy way.
The key to success in all areas of life is communication. I cannot believe it took me so long to figure that out, like just having open, honest, calm conversations.
Yeah.
When you don't say things, you bury them, you build resentment. My personal belief is that resentment can lead to illnesses like cancer. That's my personal belief. I'm not saying that's statistically backed up, but it certainly creates animosity, and the next time you meet up with them, there's tension. So don't hold it in, like communicate, and then people might not just be aware, and they'll be like, you know what, she's right, I'm going to book the next thing. So
exactly.
But you feel valued if someone's putting in effort.
Definitely.
100%. You know you do.
But also you don't want to be putting in effort everywhere when you don't have it to give.
Exactly. That's the whole point of can I get a refill? Like literally you cannot pour from an empty cup. I completely agree with that. So again, you being open and honest with your communication with people saying, hey, I'm on empty. Oh, there's a great Brene Brown thing where she, like her and her husband, they'll come home and it's been a tough day. And she's like, he says to her, I'm at 20. Where are you at? She's like, I'm at like 45. I got this. You tap out. I'm like, oh my God, I love that. Like that's good awesome. Communication of saying, and I'll see it, like Alan is the rock in the relationship. There's very few times when he's melting down and then I'll see it and I'm like, I got this. Like I have to step up now and he never struggles. But if like everything's coming at him from work, I can see that he needs to zone out. So yeah, having each other's back, hugely important in all relationships.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 4, I have none of these, thank God. The all for show friendships with no depth but lots of selfies. So they're friends that, you know, like want the big grand events and the dress ups and that, which is great and it's fun. But if you're all for show and Instagram posts and no deep and meaningful chats, like anyone who became friends pre-social media and are still friends, that's a solid fucking friendship. Like me and this friend who I said is bad at replying to texts, we became friends sitting on her rooftop drinking scotch till 3 a.m. when we were like teenagers because it was just the most deep and meaningful chats. And we're very different people and we can clash on certain things, but it was really building that solid foundation.
Yeah.
So you need to feel that there's something really real about your friends. And you
can grow with them.
Yeah. And like you should know like certain deep things. Like I remember do you remember when they used to have like Cosmo and Dolly and Girlfriend and they're like, there was a quiz in there once and I only remember these 2 questions. These are all the things you should know about your best friends. One was the name of their mum and the other was their bra size. And I remember writing down my friends' bra sizes in case I forgot. Like I really want to remember. That's what a good friend would do. But since they've given birth, the bra sizes have all changed. So the ones that are the smallest then became the biggest and it's all over the place. But there should be depth. You should really, know stuff about your friend and vice versa, right?
Oh, for sure. I had one of these all for show friends.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
No, you don't realise until you sit and think when you're sort of caught up in it. You're like, yeah, this is normal. Let's go do this.
Oh, I know. It was like a long time ago. Started in school, but we were good friends for quite a while. And everything was, I don't know if you remember Bebo back before Facebook.
No.
It was, I think, around MySpace.
Oh, it was only MySpace. Yeah. I loved MySpace.
Everything was for that. All of the photos would go places. I had just got my license, so we could travel around. And she was taking photos absolutely everywhere. But when it was the moments to enjoy,
she wasn't present?
No, she was like captioning photos.
Oh, no. I have this rule. If you have dinner with me, especially if it's one-on-one, phone's in the bag. Because I'm like, it's so hard to get your friends together now that if you're on your phone, I mean, like emergency things or if work calls, it's different that you have to answer. But I'll take photos and people will be like, send them to me, send them. I'm like, no, I don't look at them until the next morning once I've sobered up or something. Like I want to be in the moment. So I will very rarely post on the night. I go home, delete the ones where you look fat or your eyes are closed, and I'll post the next day because I want to enjoy that time.
Yeah. Well, you'd assume that you're enjoying time together.
Yeah.
That friend was getting content for her and still is now. I still follow
She was
her.
Using you to make her look popular with friends in the posts.
Yeah, exciting. I mean, she's not a bad person. But
they're just not aware of it.
Yeah,
it's not.
That's important to her, not my company.
Totally. Yeah, it's not coming from a sinister place. It's more that. Yeah, it's just shallow. It's
just not the level that I want to,
But it's fine in your 20s, I find. Like, you know, like
I didn't even notice in my 20s.
No, but you don't.
It's looking back that I was like, oh, she was just a nothing friend.
You know how you know who your real friends are? Who would you call if there was a death or if there was a breakup? You know those. They're on speed dial, those friends where you're like, I need you now. Do you know, like my friend.
They're the ones you don't have any photos with because you're too busy doing stuff.
My best friend died in 2008 in a car accident. So I can probably count on my two hands the amount of photos we have together. And I think I started taking a lot of photos after she died because I'm like, fuck, I hardly have any to remember.
Yeah.
But I remember once going through this big breakup and I wasn't eating and I lost 5 kilos. So my mum was worried. I don't know if she called Chantel or I did. And like, I remember it was like my mum and Chantel taking turns to come in and force feed me strawberry milkshakes because it was like sustenance. Like I could cry. But it's like, you know, the important people that rally around you when you're, there's people that'll be around you when things are fun, and then when things really fuck up, they could be gone. So I think by the time you get to my age,
levels and layers of friendships.
Yeah,
my
and that's
best friend, we always say like our circle is more like a line, just from me to her, our inner circle.
I love that. Yeah, it's not the amount; it's the it's what you get out of the friendship. So I definitely had more friends in my 20s, but they're my lifeline, my girls. And I've always had a lot of male friends, and I adore my male friends, but they're not, you get to this age and you're like, they're not a lifeline, or most of them. Some of them I have really deep conversations with, but the girls it's real depth. It's real, like they've really got your back in every situation, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Number 5, flaky friends. Hey, this might be you. No, I'm kidding.
It is me. I was thinking that. I'm the flaky friend.
Flaky friends who regularly cancel at the last minute and don't suggest a reschedule date. Now,
I don't do that anymore.
Hear me out. You can cancel. You can get overwhelmed, and there's always some friends. This girl at work was saying that. She's like, oh, that's me. But someone else said, well, maybe sometimes it's also an ADHD thing. Like they just get overwhelmed and they don't, like it's just all too much and their life admin skills really suck. Or I don't know a lot about ADHD, so I'm not impugning. I'm just saying what a friend said her experience was. But my strength is like, I went my whole life thinking I was Rachel from Friends, and I am 100% nothing like Rachel. I am Monica Geller. Alan always makes fun of me. This is the bit where she had this party and she's telling people off for not putting the lids back on the texters because the texters are drying out. She's like, I'm noticing that some of you are just placing the lids on top. You want to push until you hear it click. And Alan's like, that's fucking you. And then they're doing this other game and she's like, no, rules are good. Rules help control the fun. I love rules. I love order. All right, you know what? It's not that fun. But nothing would fucking happen in my group if there wasn't one of me to organise shit.
I have never been in a group without a you.
Everyone needs a me. Everyone needs a Monica Geller because nothing will get done. And it can be annoying, but I tell you what, you're always the one that people go to because they know they can rely on you too. So I like that status as well.
Yeah.
I know friends come to me when shit's deep and real and that they can confide that in me. That makes me feel really valued. So, so cancelling and getting overwhelmed, that's fine. But it's
the action you take though, because that's the feeling. The action is what's
are
right
you
or
letting
wrong.
them down and making them feel shit? So a friend at work, she has very strict if she wants people at things, and she was organising like a hens, and if people couldn't come, she got really upset. She goes, well, let me run it by you because she's a lot younger and she wants to hear my opinion of is she being unreasonable? And I said, look, hear me out. I'm the friend also that gets very overwhelmed when I'm invited to a lot of things. Like I was saying in the last episode, my social battery drains. So I go, I cancel things, but I wouldn't do it last minute either. So she's like, okay, here's my issue. I don't care if they cancel, but it's when friends don't suggest a rescheduled date. Like, I can't make it. How about we do this date? That's a really important point. So you're saying can't do it, struggling, low energy or conflicting schedule, but how about this? So when you're offering an alternative, you're showing I still give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
Don't
I
you
want
think?
to spend time with you. I just can't at that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I get that I have some friends who absolutely suck at life admin. Like there's one friend where you have to tell her that it's a half an hour before it is or an hour before because she's always late. This is the fun one I was saying. Like she is the life of the party. and then you have to organise someone to pick her up on the way. And you have to so I had, she was one of my bridesmaids, and I had another bridesmaid who was one of my maids of honour. Her only job was get that friend there. So I remember on the morning she sent me a text, package is secured, and she's got a few of them in the back. So I know that other friend is a great organiser like me, and she's on it. The other friend's not, but the other friend will bring the fun and the champagne.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Not everyone's going to be the same. And if it was a whole bunch of me's and a whole bunch of Monica Geller's, it'd be fucking annoying. And we'd all butt heads. I get it.
You said it. I didn't.
But if it was all fun, flaky people, you'd never get together. Nothing would get organised.
No.
You'd miss each other. That person would be late. That person would be at the wrong venue.
It'd be 10 years later and you're like, have I?
So, yeah, flaky's fine. But, like, you want them to at least put the effort to make you feel valued, to say, let's suggest another date.
I put to you that flaky isn't fine.
Yeah.
They're just not, when I was a flaky friend, I admit I wasn't a good friend.
Weren't a great friend.
I was not. Like, I'm rarely...
more caught up in your own stuff, do you think? Yeah.
I didn't know. I actually had a friend kind of tell me that I wasn't a good friend.
Yeah, but...
And she was right.
You know what? And if they put it to you in a, like, calm, respectful way, it can be a really good eye-opener.
That was like a moment in time that I have a screenshot of. I just remember she put me right on the spot. She's like, do you know my sister's name? Do you know my brother's name? I was like, shit, I don't know anything.
Oh, and I just brought up that about the family's names. That's so funny. You know what she did? She held a mirror up for you of things you weren't aware of.
Yeah.
So what that is constructive feedback, constructive criticism. Yeah. I really value that.
It. I'm so grateful to her for that.
See, I really value that in any situation. So one of our first reviews of this podcast on Apple, I was so impressed. I thought it'd be all my best friends, and there were a few of them were strangers, and I was like, this is so exciting. Like, and a lot of them were like, I just found you on Instagram and then was listening to it. Like, and one girl was like, really loved the content, loved the podcast, but I don't know anything about you guys. It'd be really great if you did an introduction. Light bulb moment, fucking A+, and gave a 5-star review. Love that woman. Put it on my Instagram, screenshot it, going, thank you so much. A, you gave a good review, but B, you gave me something really helpful.
Yeah.
I didn't do a good introduction in the first 2 episodes. I mean, I have pre-recorded some, so I said to her, just bear with me because they're already recorded. So I'll do that moving forward. So I've changed my pre-recorded intro, and I give a little bit of a bio about myself, and I'll introduce the guests, but how valuable was that feedback? And that, I think feedback is really, really important with friends.
And if you're open to receiving it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I felt defensive when she was putting it to me.
You will.
But I had to yeah, you're right. I'm a shit friend. How can I change? I had never had to be a good friend before because she was an excellent, excellent friend.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So with my friends, was it a case of, was that my fault too? I set the standard of I'll look after everything, so they got comfortable in it. So you were comfortable.
I was comfortable.
But she was leading the friendship.
Definitely. She made a lot of the decisions. I'm going to see you here and we're going to do this, and she'll call me, and if I didn't answer, she'll call me again.
Yes.
Like it was a lot. But she cared about me, and she'd Google things if I got sick or if I felt this way.
She's lovely.
Yeah. And then
we all need friends like that.
Oh, I know. I was just loving her friendship.
Yep.
I didn't realize I needed to give anything back. Like, it's not that
it was
a
light bulb moment, and you can't always see it on your own.
No, I needed
to hear it.
Yep. It was so. I've been a better friend to a lot of my friends since then. But
that's great. Like, that's really good. Important conversations are good if they're. I think I was talking about this before. Like, if you don't say things and you hold it in, that builds resentment, and then it'll blow up into a big argument. You're so better off bringing things up as they happen and go, hey, I talk about this in nearly every episode. My thing is, if something's making me feel uncomfortable, I go, hey, when you do, this is like therapist, dialogue. When you do this, it makes me feel like this, not like you're a shit friend.
Yeah.
You're, like that makes someone get defensive. But if you go, hey, like eye contact, touch them on the arm and just go, I love you, but I just want you to know that when you do this, it makes me feel like this.
That's exactly.
It's really important. So it's both sides. So it's delivery of the person making the point, and it's the taking it on board. And it'll sting. Like, we all have ego. It's going to sting. Yeah, it's going to sting, but you'll go away and think about it and then come back. Yeah. they're the friendships you need as you get older, not the yes man ones of, let's have fun, let's do this. It's the friends that hold up the mirror to you. As you get older, you realize that they're the ones that last, 100%.
And it's not even just that you're a good person, so therefore you're a good friend. Like I was always a good person, but I was a really shit friend.
Yeah, but you just didn't know.
Yeah.
And someone had to teach you. She taught you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I like that. I like feedback. Number 6, when they don't recognise that you're not in the same financial position as them. This is a really awkies one. No one likes to talk about money and politics. And I want to do an episode on weddings, so this would tie into it. But there's certain things, that I always see other people asking the question, who should pay for this in weddings? Who, should you ask friends this? I think it's really important. And again, I'm going to reference Friends again, but there was an episode, really old one, where 3 of them were wealthy, 3 of them were poor, and they're like, let's do this, buy this guy the present, and then go to this music concert, and then go to this dinner, and they're like, and they would just order a cup of soup because they had no money to afford it, and it made them feel bad about themselves. So I think, if you're not in the financial position as your other friends, they might not be aware, so point out and go, I really want to do this for you and be part of it, but it's not aligned with my financial goals, or it's not within my budget. I can't make it happen. But you also want to be the kind of friend that's not assuming that they can do something when they can't.
Because it's
and weddings trigger that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you don't want to say, look, I can't spend time with you on your special whatever because I don't have the money. Like, it's not.
I know.
Yeah, and it's humbling.
When I started hearing colleagues, friends, and all their weddings, I'm talking overseas hens, overseas weddings, just thousands of dollars that they have to fork out, and you might have 10 friends. And I say to some people, you just work for weddings. You just it's so much money. Yeah. And, I have a couple of friends who are lawyers, and I've always been on minimum wage, and I have another friend who, the work is sporadic. She doesn't have a lot of income. So I always look at my friends, and every time I hear these stories, I'm like, I am so grateful. I have the most low-maintenance girlfriends who have zero expectations of me. And if I said, hey, I can't do it, they would never make me feel bad about it. Or they, might offer to chip in and help. Or I have the most generous, kind, patient friends. But yeah, when I'm hearing of friends like that, it triggers me a little bit. I didn't love the whole wedding thing. It's just not my thing. I'd rather... what you see now where they're celebrate friends launching a business or their career instead of it doesn't just have to be baby showers and weddings and stuff. I love supporting friends, things like that. But yeah, the financial thing. Have you ever had someone have sort of expectations on you that wasn't within your finances? Or?
Well, I have been really sporadic in my spending habits for a long time. So this is my life story. But the majority of the time that all my friends were getting married, I was just after paying everything. So I had no money already. So all the extra things, and you want to make it special and you want to be there, but destination weddings,
it's a lot. It's a lot on the guests.
Yeah.
And they're fun.
I tried to, there were a lot of times back in my shit friend days.
Yeah.
Where I'd make an excuse or try and make it happen. Or,
and when it's the real friendships, you don't have to make the excuse. You just be like, hey, can't make this happen. My hands was just was sort of still in semi-lockdown conditions, I think, but you could go out, and we just had an Airbnb with just my best friends and just went to the Ivy pool. It was so much fun, but actually it was lockdown times because you couldn't dance. And you forget when you have a few drinks, and a friend was standing up dancing and the security guy was like, no, you have to sit. How weird does that sound now that it's so weird. But, and it was so low key. And I said I wanted a penis cake, and my friend, one of my best friends, literally baked it, and she was doing trial and error ones where she's baking at home, and her and her son are trying this penis cake, and she's sending me progress photos of these, and it was a chocolate one, and then she ended up putting sour worms on it, which I think were the sperm shooting out.
Right.
It was super delicious, but I didn't eat it till the next day. Alan and I both came home and we were so hungover, lying on the couch eating this big penis cake watching TV. But it was so low key. I mean, they did a great job at organising decorations and that, but it was the most fun. I look back on that so much more fondly than my wedding. It was just fun and simple fun, and just, we partied hard. It was a 3-day hangover, but it was totally worth it. But the expectations when people are on, you're not all on the same job.
No, exactly. All of my friends are much more well off than I.
Same. It's always been that way because I've always followed these creative pursuits instead of good jobs. I love my job, don't get me wrong, but I've always been, basic salary.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7, when they bitch about other friends to you on a regular basis. Now, do not get me wrong. It is totally human to talk about things that are bothering you.
Venting's fine.
Venting is great, and I do it with my friends. Actually, this is one thing I wanted to bring up that's like the best thing I've learned recently. It's sort of not in line with this, but it's where you say to a friend, what do you want right now? Are you looking for advice or do you just need to vent? Have you seen that? People are talking about that more and more, and I fucking love that because sometimes you just want to get things off your chest. And it is totally normal to talk about things that someone's done to you that's bothering you. Completely. I do it. My girlfriends do it. I want to hear their stories. I want to listen to them. I want to give them feedback if they want it. But when it's someone who's literally bad-mouthing every single person in your life, you know you're going to be next on that list to someone else. And it makes you uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I have my best friend actually, she notices things like that. You know, I'm more present in a conversation or something and she's sitting back looking at why someone said this or she's very observant.
Should make a good psychologist.
Yeah. She always mentions after we've like interacted with someone, she'll mention whether that person is like a people person or a her person, you know, like because we talk about things that we want to achieve and what we're doing and what makes us happy. But there's other people speak about people.
I wish I wrote the quote down, but it's something like, I wish I remembered it. Something like small minds discuss people, big minds discuss something. I can't remember what it was. It was like, if someone's talking about, Al and I will always talk about like career goals, financial goals, things we're doing, movements we're making.
Yeah.
And I love talking about stuff like that. But there's some people in my life that will leave an event and then just get in the car and just badmouth everybody that did something wrong. And I'm like, this is draining. Like, did you see what they said to them? Like, that's horrible.
I don't normally notice that. My best friend picks up on it all the time. But whenever we leave a social interaction, she's like, they're a people person. Like they're just talking about people.
Is your friend an empath?
Yeah,
like, okay,
heavily,
I'm a real empath. So if I'm around high vibe people, I'm really fed. Yeah. If I'm around low vibe people, I'm actually really drained, and I actually find it really hard. It makes me feel like I have a hangover, like I'm unwell. Because it's energy. Energy's huge. So I will notice things like that. And whereas Alan will be like, I didn't notice that. And I'm like, am I a bitch for pointing that out? But it's like,
no, but you just she can't unsee things.
Exactly. And I know how it makes me feel.
Yes.
And I think that's the most important thing. How do you feel after you spend time with someone? So it's not a great quality. Again, so important and valid to talk about things, or if you're worried about someone in their relationship, that is totally normal. Or if someone made you feel bad, but just constant gossip or like bitching about someone on a superficial level. Or if you are that
person who bitches about people, just stick together. Like you guys are, you're okay in your own group, but
they're not okay. Hurt people.
Yeah, we don't really need
I don't want it around me.
Yeah.
I wish you well. I wish you were away. That's my line for everything. Okay, last one, number 8, competitive or jealous friends. Haven't had these people around me for years. Again, I've weeded out.
It's a young thing, hey?
I think so too. But I had an ex, and I remember his father used to say the most dangerous person you can have around you is someone who envies things about you. And I've had people like that like, like will watch your every move but not congratulate you or encourage you, and they're very competitive. Or like I know some people who like the conversations are just all around like money and like this is the holiday we're going on and this is the thing we bought. And I'm
showy.
Like, and I have friends that are like one of my best friends, it's got the most gorgeous mansion and like this gorgeous car and goes on holidays, and she'll never talk about that stuff. Like she'll literally just talk about real stuff that's happening to her, real stuff that's happening to me. So that showing off thing, I think in a way they feel, this is my hypothesis, that they feel they're lacking or that they feel they're not great in some respect, so they do that to one up themselves. Yeah. So,
or it's just important to them.
Yeah, but then you find yourself going, oh, yes, I went there and I did that. And I'm like, what am I doing?
No, I hate that. I can't participate in those conversations.
But no, you'd be surprised how easily you get just caught up in it.
Yeah.
If that's where the conversation's going, you kind of just jump in and you don't ever realise till later, we we didn't really discuss anything deep about me or you, and I actually feel a little bit exhausted, a little bit drained.
That's actually what really drains me.
Feels competitive, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I can't compete with any of those type of, what are they called? Like the material things.
Yeah.
They're not important to me. I'm not like a real brand person or a shopper or.
I've never owned one brand handbag or anything. It depends what you value. So I don't value that, but I will value good holidays because I'm still paying off Europe last year, but it was the best. We went to so many places, but that's a value to me. So my money going there is important. Yeah. But when you have a jealous person around you, you feel it.
Oh, it doesn't feel good.
No, it feels shit.
And it makes you feel bad for saying good things that have happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sharing things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish on a positive. Let's jump into some green flags. Okay. Number one, a lot of them we've probably covered because it's the antidote to the other thing, but being really present when you're together. Again, please, when you're with the people you love, pop your phone away unless it's super, super urgent. You never, especially coming from someone who lost their best friend, you would do anything to get that time back. Yeah. So really be present. It's going to make you go home feeling like your cup's full, and it's going to make them feel very valued. Number two, when they ask you questions about yourself and your life, and they remember important things that are happening to you and follow up to see how you went. I have, my two friends I said on my rock. They will always literally remember the dates I have my pregnancy scans on, and hey, how did that go today? Do you know how special I feel when they remember those things?
And it's important.
Yeah, and I really I always make a note to be that friend to my friends, and they feel valued and I feel valued.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sharing, this is sort of similar. Number three, sharing what's happening in their life with you and including you in their lives. So I love when my friends will invite me to their kids' birthdays and I just feel part of their life, like I'm growing with them. Yeah, and especially I've known my friends since my very best friends. We all went to high school together. We met when we were 12 years old. Some of them were 11, I was 12. We're 40. We have gone through the fun off your face stages.
Every stage.
The shit boyfriends, the marrying Mr. Right, having kids. It's been such a pleasure watching my male and female friends, go into grey hairs and I remember when you were 12. It's so
lovely.
My
best friend.
Yeah.
We were 13 when I was 13 and she was 12 when we first met, and she lives one street away from me now.
Oh, I love that. Oh, most of my friends are far away.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
We see each other all the time and we are present
together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we don't see each other at every moment, every day.
Not now, but you did when you were young, but your life's different as you get older. But I think the reason some high school friendships are so important and last so long is because they're your formative years. So I had the best friends in primary school, and one of them I just adored, and we still talk on socials, but you don't catch up. And she was an amazing woman. She is an amazing woman, but the high school friends, they're your formative years when you
do the embarrassing shit.
All the tears were with them. All the they've seen you at your highs and your lows, and I just feel like when you've got shit going on with your family and boyfriends, you always run to them, and they just feel like a support network.
Yeah.
They just got your back. So it's such the friends in the formative years, you can't shake them. And then there might be years when you don't see them. And then when you come back together, I find those high school friends, it's like no time has passed.
Exactly.
Yeah, we just pick up where we left off.
Dynamics and everything's,
and
fun.
Comfortable silences, and you finish each other's sentences.
And you're so proud of where you've come in the time that you had. Yeah, I love that.
You should only look back when you want to see how far you come. I'm a big believer in that. Number 4, showing up for your big moments, knowing they have your back when you feel overwhelmed. Successful things when I used to do gigs and have my best friends in the front row singing my lyrics to me, oh my God, that is very special. It's harder as you get older and you have kids and stuff. I totally get it, but they would always show up. You just knew they were there for you.
Yeah, and just being there for you no matter what, if it's an event or if it's because you're sad and just checking on you,
Absolutely.
a text or something. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you know what? I'm going to go to number 8 because it was checking in on you, especially when they know you're going through a rough time. So that makes you feel special. But and even number 6, I'm just going to combine them. Being there for you when you're at your rock bottom. I remember when I first moved into this house and I had to get a second job because I just couldn't afford to moved out of my parents' house to pay rent to buy all the furniture. And when my birthday came up and I had nothing planned, I wasn't catching up with anyone, and I just felt like a loser. And I called my friend and I just felt like I was tired from working so much. I felt like a loser. She was at my house within an hour, dressed to the nines, looking gorgeous with champagne and the best cheese platter, because her and I pride ourselves on our good cheese platters. And I still have those photos, and it was just her and Alan and me, and they were singing happy birthday to me, but they're both kind of quiet and shy-ish. And when they were singing, you can hear me yelling out, "Keep going," because they stopped singing. So every time someone sings the happy birthday song, she's always saying to me, "Keep going." But she just knew I needed it and showed up. Like Chantel, I was saying before, when I had the breakup, and she's there force-feeding me milkshakes. And then same with my friend, when she had a breakup, and we've always lived far away from each other, and I was at her place within an hour. I think I even had plans and cancelled, and I'm like, nah, she needs it. And, we really connected, but knowing that you have those people that just show up when you're at rock bottom, you don't get through stuff without that.
No, and you don't even expect it. My best friend, when I called her, I had broken up with my ex. Yeah. And she was in the kind of honeymoon phase with her ex.
Really different phases.
Yeah. And they were always seeing each other. And that was an agreement. I knew, I don't see her. She's with her boyfriend, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But
for the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. They had a very extended honeymoon period.
Okay.
But I messaged her. I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm just with my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Okay." And then she's like, "Why? What's happening with you?" I was like, "Oh no, I just broke up with my ex." 10 minutes later, she's at my house. She's got all this stuff from the petrol station. She's like, "We're just going to watch movies, Yeah. I didn't ask her. I was just wanting to chat or something, but
you don't get through those tough moments without those people.
Yeah.
They're absolutely your lifeline.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that so much. And the opposite of that is celebrating your career success, showing their support to you in person and online. So I love when my friends were like, listen to this podcast and leave a review. Share this podcast on their stories. When I did a music video years ago, they're sharing the music video. I didn't, and I'm not ashamed to ask people, "Hey, can you do that?" And that's not taboo anymore, because you need that online interaction to get success. So I'm not afraid to ask people, and they don't care. But when people do it without you asking, doesn't that make you feel so special? And you own your own businesses. Cute. Don't you feel special when your friends celebrate those businesses?
Oh, for sure. They're always sharing things on the stories. I had a friend write a Google review.
Yeah.
But on Google, they've got that section where you can ask questions to the business.
No.
There's just
it's
on the Google page. So my business page.
Because those Google reviews are vital for success.
Yeah. All of my friends have written Google reviews.
Pretty sure I have, but I'll double check.
Yeah, no, you have. For both of them. Thank you. But there's a section where you can ask the business questions. Usually what time you open or
gotcha.
You do this.
All right, I think I have seen that.
One friend's asked, "So can you tell me more about your qualifications, Harmony? Did you do an international diploma in beauty?" Oh my gosh, I know.
So cute.
That you think you're helping. But just amplifying my qualifications, just acting like a stranger. They're always doing, it's really cute.
I feel like no one has your back quite like your girlfriends.
Yeah.
It's years ago it would be more in a bar fight, they're arcing up to fight for you, and now it's more like they're supporting you. It's there's no one you can rely on more, in my opinion. Oh, I love that. I've already covered this, but I go making a fuss on your birthday, again. When your friends always do the reels with the music that makes you cry, and then there's
the embarrassing
stories.
Photos.
No one does it but your girlfriends.
Yeah.
Hey, and everyone's sort of dropped off, but there's still those key girlfriends that still share that stuff. So the messages, they'll send you flowers. I have one friend, I had the flowers up for ages, I just got rid of them. But this was when I was going through some body, physical issues with this pregnancy, and she just send would check in with my husband if I'm working from home and send a big bunch of flowers. They just think of you. They just, they make a fuss of you when things are good, and they got your back when things are bad.
Yeah.
And it's the only way. If you have friendships that you feel aren't like that, you have to reassess them, because you absolutely succeed in life when you've got support behind you. I couldn't accentuate that anymore.
Yeah, they make you feel special.
Yeah.
Because you are,
Yeah.
you are that special person to them.
Yeah, yeah. And if you feel you're not being that friend, pick up your game.
Yeah.
The last point we actually recently covered, having honest, tough conversations when required. So I have some good examples about that. Like, it's not just the yes man friends who are like, yeah. Like, you know, when you go to your friend with a problem, they just agree with you. Like, yeah, they fucked you over there. I have a couple of friends, one who will always, since high school, she was just very emotionally intelligent from 15. And she would be like, and listen to my point and go, okay, maybe they're doing that because of this. She will always, like, not take sides. She'll give you both sides.
Yeah.
She'll hear you out and then she'll give you both sides. And then when I was in a violent relationship years ago, she was the one that held up the mirror. And again, the onus is always on the perpetrator of violence. But I kept coming to my friends. In the end, I didn't tell anyone for years, but in the end, I'd literally tell them horrible things you did. It might not be the violence thing. It might have been other things. And she put her hand on my face and went, stop. You keep telling us these horrible things that we find traumatic. We keep telling you what to do and you keep doing the opposite. We can't hear it anymore. And it was so what I needed to hear. But in the moment, I was offended because my ego was bruised. And to this day, she's one of the most important people in my life. She didn't care if it hurt my ego. She cared more about me.
That's a good friend.
Oh, my God. And I've got a couple of other friends, like one that I just only ever had one disagreement with, but it was just such an honest conversation of, is that the right thing you should be doing? You know, like you can't just be a yes man and, you know, like it's good to have fun, supportive friends, but someone needs to hold up the mirror to you in a kind, respectful way like your friend did when you weren't being a great friend. So honest, tough conversations like you do with your partner. Like Alan and I will have very little disagreements, but when we do, we sit and talk it out because I see relationships where you don't discuss it and that resentment is cancer for the relationship.
Yeah, it goes somewhere. You bottle it up, it'll explode later.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
that's my friend. I have to reference her again.
Please.
My best friend is the best friend.
Yeah.
But she always puts me in my place. I remember one time I had a surprise party planned for me and it wasn't what I wanted to do and I didn't know. Like it wasn't a party, it was a surprise outing. And I called her to tell her, you know, like these things happened and whatever. And she was like, girl, I don't want you to be sounding ungrateful on your birthday.
Yeah.
She's like, but this sounds like a you problem. And I was like, yeah, it is a me problem.
Do you know what? The older you get, the less offended you get and the more you appreciate those chats.
Yeah, but I truly trust her too because if she's saying it, then...
You can't just meet someone and they talk to you like that straight away. Exactly. The trust has to be built.
Yeah.
That's true.
But she's always my like vibe checker. If I feel like, is this right of me to feel? Or, you know, like, am I being ungrateful or am I being like dramatic? And I'll call her and... Sometimes it's like, nah, fuck them.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Sometimes you need it. Yeah. Sometimes you need them to just to have your back and agree with you. And sometimes...
but you'd hate to be that person who's like just causing a little scene for nothing or whatever. Yeah. So she's always the reality.
Checking you.
Yeah.
She's checking you.
She's always keeping me in check. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, girlfriends are the best. Yeah. All right, that's all we have time for. But what I'm going to give you, instead of asking what you're going to do to fill up your cup, I'm going to give people homework and I want you to go away, take some time, you know, out in a restful place and really assess the friendships in your life and have a look at them and just ask, are they adding to my life or are they detracting? Because if you're feeling drained or low on energy, it might be a relationship in your life. So look at what you can reassess. If someone's doing something that's upsetting you, talk to them about it. If you feel someone's just using you and it's an unhealthy, toxic relationship, reassess your friendships and also reassess the kind of friend you are, you know, and see, is there an area where I need to stand up more for my friends? Life is so busy. We're on this rat race and this wheel and if you don't stop, you're going to forget to make, you know, take the time to notice people. So that's your homework. And other than that, I hope you take some time to fill up your own cup. There is no resource more valuable than time, and I thank you for spending your time with us today. Your voice is so important to us, and we would love to hear which topics you would like discussed in future episodes. Please reach out via Instagram at Can I Get a Refill podcast or in our private Facebook group to let us know. If you enjoyed this or previous episodes, we would be so grateful if you could please subscribe, rate and review to help our voices continue to be heard. Catch you in the next episode.